everyone, and it is a good morning. I'm looking out my window here, and it's not raining, and it's not windy. It's marvellous. So look, greetings to you all, and welcome to Solid Ground. Particularly to our first-time viewers, you'll be finding this streamed across multiple platforms. But as the regulars know, if you want to get a message to me directly, live here in studio, you need to jump onto Family First's YouTube channel or its Facebook channel. Those are the two vectors to get messages directly to me here, and I can see a whole pile already, so I'll get to those in a moment. But as I say, welcome along. Solid Ground is 20 to 30 minutes of me, God help us, but me discussing topics that have caught my eye over the last 24, 48, 72 hours. And today's no different. We've actually got a range of issues from overseas to local, and we'll see how many I get through. But can I encourage you as well, obviously, always lovely to hear from you. Lots of people, as I say, at the start of the morning are saying good morning and where they are. But also if you have questions, and I can see someone's put also a breaking news story coming out of the US at the moment, know that not only are you welcome to comment on what I'm discussing with your own viewpoints, but also know if there's something that's on your mind and you'd like me to talk about, hit me up. That's the great benefit. And I seem to have I've already got over 2 pages of people, which is marvellous. I'm just going to see if I can do one little thing here. Here we go. Oh, okay. There we go. So, good morning to Harrison. Lovely to have you along as always. Edmund, lovely to have you here. We've got Rosie there in beautiful Taupo. Always a pleasure. We've got Jackie there from Raitihi. Good morning. And Lynette. Again, it's very important for new time listeners and viewers to know that I love the little community. Well, actually, it's not that little. It's quite a large community. Bob and I are rather humbled by actually the huge viewership across our various channels. So good morning to Michael, Nigel there in Te Awa Mutu. Lovely to have you along. My wife actually almost was going to live in Te Awa Mutu when she was a child. Her dad, if I recall the story correctly, was having to choose between, because he was a Baptist pastor, of whether he was going to go to Te Awa Mutu or Te Atatu, and he ended up in Te Atatu, but the rest they say is history. Good morning to Darren, lovely to have you along here. Peter, good morning. We've got Justine, lovely to have you along. Morning to Dee Dee, it's great. Oh my lord, I'll spend all morning saying hello to Gordon, good morning. A jolly good morning to all from Food Dogs Trucking, and they know that makes me laugh every morning. To Philippa, good morning. Peter's asking, is your mic through the camera and no main mic? I'm hoping people can hear me. If people can't, let me know, but I should be using this microphone right here. I do have a camera that has a mic, but I try to mute that. So just the breaking news, it was happening a few hours ago actually. For some reason I woke up at about 3:30 this morning, wide awake. Guilty conscience, probably. No, I woke up, but very sad news coming out of, I think it's Fort Stewart in the United States, one of the largest military bases, which holds the 2nd Brigade. Army sergeant has shot 5 of his colleagues. We don't know the motivations, we don't know who he is, we don't have died, and I've seen another comment here that a lot of the army bases, they're not armed. I don't know enough about that, but I suspect actually soldiers are not walking around all the time with weapons. Same here in New Zealand. If you go to our army bases, the various firearms are handed out and accounted for and returned. So pretty sad though. Pretty sad. Good morning to Alison there. Turanganui Akiwa. Of course. So it's very, very small font, so I apologise to everyone. But they're in lovely Gisborne, Turanga Akiwa. Lovely to have you along. And Harrison saying you can hear me, which is good. As some regulars will know, I'm great at muting myself. But anyway, that's some breaking and sad news coming out of the United States at the moment. I'm actually going to switch briefly to Poland because I know this might sound unusual. Oh, okay. So I'm just going to try. I'm told the mic is glitching a little bit. That's not good. Let me know, guys, if it carries on, because I'm not sure I can fix it. But this is coming out of Poland at the moment. A new president, conservative, leans more to the right and more into conservative values. So not that I know Karol Nawrocki at all, never met him. Oh, no. Hello? Have we lost the sound? Well, I may have to leave it here because I'm not going to be able to fix this. I'm not going to be able to fix this quickly. So, guys, I might have to end it there if there are these mic problems. I don't know why, but I'm going to say, oh, okay, we've got people telling me it's sort of okay, it's sort of not. I'm just going to keep trying for now, guys, if that's all right. Okay, I'm getting a whole mixture. Okay, I'm going to push on. So for those who are having problems, I am sorry. But for those that are not having problems, I'll keep going. So look, an election of a new president in Poland. As I say, I don't know much about him other than he's much more right-leaning. But what struck me, as always, is how the media reports these things. Very negative reporting about him. Lots of talk that he's got no experience and why should he be president, which I find hilarious because, of course, when you look around the world, from that extremist in New York, I've forgotten his name, running for mayor, through to, well, you think of politicians in this country who have no experience, but they're lauded. Chloe Swarbuck comes to mind. But I just thought it's interesting how the reporting is always very different. And look, this guy seems fine, and he's certainly wanting to shake things up. He gets a 5-year term, so it'll be interesting to see where he goes. His support for life, his support for family issues. He's certainly taking the fight to the Prime Minister, a guy called Donald Tusk, who's off this planet really with a lot of his policies. Harrison's put quite a funny comment. And so I do know Harrison. Yeah, technology sometimes is not on our sides. But look, as I say, interesting that he's being elected. I think it's a good thing for Poland. Good, strong conservative values. But I just was struck about how it's been reported. The left, the mainstream media are not happy at all. Switching to Minnesota, I don't know whether or not you can read this, but this is to do with men who want to play in women's sports. And I thought I'd put this in here for a couple of reasons. One, I used to fence, so I'm not talking about the practical skill of fencing a farm paddock. I'm talking about swords. The international body has said, look, in the nature of the sport, only men can compete against men and only women against women. And so transgender fencers, primarily men who go into the female competition, are no longer allowed. But the state of Minnesota, woke as it is Tim Walz? He was the one who ran to be the Vice President of the United States against the train wreck of Kamala Harris. The wokest state, it appears, in the US is saying, no, we're actually going to no longer have any male or female categories. We're getting rid of them in their entirety, and all that's going to happen is men and women will fence together. There's two quick observations on this. One, have you noted once again how men, you can call them trans women if you want, but basically biological men are bullying women, pushing them out of their own sports. It's completely wrong at so many levels. But as I say, this is bullying misogynistic men. Yep, they might think of themselves as women, but they are biological men bullying women out of their own sport. And the second point is basically no woman will win fencing tournaments. Again, I mean, there's always going to be exceptions. I fence some phenomenal women, but in general, the men are just going to win these tournaments. And I can say, as a fencer, and I fenced for years, there is a difference between male and female, and it's a physical and aggressive sport. And effectively now in Minnesota, men are going to be able to hit women, in this case, with swords. And as Food Dogs Trucking has noted, it's nuts. Simply green, completely right. The men will win, not on all and every occasion. As I say, I've been well beaten many times by female fencers when you're sparring socially. But when it comes to competition, it's really just crazy. Rosie here, of course, women's sport is for biological women. Exactly right. Create a trans category if you want. Those people who believe in whatever they believe can go and fence each other or play whatever sport. But I just thought it was interesting. I just think we get just the madness. And I note too, of course, we've got Sal Grover's got her campaign on at the moment in Australia. If you're not following that, you'll remember I've done a few interviews with Sal over the time. She's the one who has the female app called Giggle, and a biological man who thinks he's a woman, and his name is Tickle. You couldn't make this court case up, Tickle versus Giggle. She's defending sex-based rights, and it's quite extraordinary. I'm going to interview her after the court case because all the various human rights commissions, gay rights groups, trans rights groups are barreling in to say that really biological sex doesn't exist. It's just everything in the mind. I mean, it's absolutely crazy stuff. Speaking of crazy stuff, this is from St. John's. I've seen this from Chris Lynch's media. If you don't follow Chris Lynch, based out of Christchurch, I would recommend you do so. But he was reporting that St. John's, so the ambulance service, and wider, of course, they're pulling their volunteer programs in hospitals and things like their pet therapy. So if you've been into retirement villages and rest homes, you'll often see animals are being brought in, and not in every case, but a lot of times they're actually via St. John's. So according to St. John's and according to Chris's reporting, these volunteer programs are being pulled for reasons of focus, not finance. In other words, St. John's is saying, look, it's not to try and save money, which would be hard to save money on something that's a volunteer program, but they're wanting to tighten up their focus. Now, that's their right to do so. I think it's a bit sad. But I thought, too, what was interesting, Chris in his media reporting sort of put forward the questions. Well, we see St. John's also pulling away from its various pride events, Matariki events, and a whole lot of other things that they tend to do. And, I doubt they will. And I think Chris has been a bit mischievous, but I sort of welcome that, because if it were me, if St. John's Ambulance wanted to focus more clearly, I would be pulling away from the likes of pride events, Matariki and other activities. I'd be focusing more on actually hospital volunteering, pet therapy volunteering. So I just think it's a little bit sad. And as Harrison's saying, St. John is great. An amazing charity. I think not completely funded. Actually, I know that definitively. They're not completely funded by government. So, they need a lot of our donations. And I think actually DD's right. This may see fewer donations coming in from people, which will be a bit sad. There we go. By the way, Bob has got his own mugs now. So we've had the solid ground mugs for a while. Bob's now got his daybreak mugs. And if you're coming to the Forum on the Family in a few weeks' time, you'll know that you'll be able to actually buy the cups. We haven't set the prices yet. They're not going to be exorbitant. They're only Family First mugs or solid ground mugs, but we're just working out if you buy a mug or you want to get 2 or 3 of them. We've got all sorts, but as I say, the Forum's only a couple of weeks away now. And Justine's nailed it, as have others. I mean, it's just about priorities. Within St. John's. But look, just something that caught my eye from Chris's media. As I say, it's well worth checking out his media. He's sort of gone independent, and I quite like what he's got to write. This caught my eye as a dear old Tory whānau, who really, if you compare her to the Polish president that I mentioned earlier, according to the media, he shouldn't be elected because he's got no experience. But of course, when it comes to New Zealand media, they fawn over this woman who has shown not only a lack of experience, but utter incompetence. I see in another unrelated report to this agreement with the Palestinian city that the Commissioner for Wellington has called her out as being basically useless, absolutely useless. And look, this is just another example of it. Virtue signalling to recognise the Palestinian city of Ramallah. So that's not in Gaza, that's in the West Bank. So whereas Gaza's run by an Islamic terrorist group called Hamas, the West Bank is run by the PLO or Fatah, which is basically just a criminal consortium. So she is delighted to partner up with the city authorities of Ramallah, with Wellington. Now, the first observation, of course, it's virtue signalling. The second is, and if you're a ratepayer in Wellington, this will frustrate you no end, and I am one of them, that she and her council have wasted time, money and resources to sort this agreement out, while the water pipes of Wellington continue to leak and things just get more and more expensive. It just shows, as I say, the gross incompetence. On top of that, of course, while she's very quick to have set up this agreement with a Palestinian city, of course, but she has never visited, and I might posit to suggest that she and her councillors will never be able to visit safely. That's the important part, safely. They wouldn't be welcome. Certainly, she would not be welcome as she perceives herself in the city of Ramallah, despite what she might think. But I've also noted, of course, when you think about all the anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel graffiti and attacks within Wellington, she is very slow. The council is exceptionally slow about removing those items of graffiti. So if it's something to do with the Palestinians, she's all over it. If it's abuse of our Jewish and Israeli New Zealanders, very, very slow. And then I thought the last part, and I hope you can read that, which I thought was actually quite funny, that the media actually reported. This is from Stuff. They've sort of hoisted themselves on their own petard. Because, oh, yeah, sorry, I'm seeing this coming through. So, yeah, too busy talking. Lovely to have you along, by the way, Sue. So noting that Wellington has major problems, but her ideological drive against Israel is not core business. Exactly right. Absolutely distracting and stupid. But Stuff wrote this, which sort of was somewhat accurate, but they don't realise, if you know anything about the geopolitics of the region, they were actually accurately describing how, in effect, the state of Palestine can't and never has existed, because, as I said, it's an ancient settlement, which, yeah, an Israeli settlement, Judea and Samaria. So if you know anything about your history, as I say, this was quite funny that they were prepared to write this. As it said, it was administered by the British. That's true up to 1948. It was taken by Arab forces, and that because in 1948, when Israel declared victory, the Palestinians and the Arab neighbours attacked them. And the thing is, they lost, which of course media don't usually talk about. In fact, they don't talk about it here. It was annexed by Jordan, so Jordan took it over for a while. That's the state of Jordan. And then in 1967, I think it was, in fact, it says it there, is it? The 6-Day War. So the Arabs attacked again, and they lost. Again, the media don't often talk to you about this stuff when they talk about what's happening around the displacement of the Palestinian people during those decades. They pretty much always forget to mention, as they are sort of skirting around here, that the Arab states attacked Israel and lost again, and lost again, which is why Israel now, effectively controls the West Bank, why it has all of Jerusalem, is because the Arabs attacked and lost. So I just thought it was interesting, and sorry, probably bored you to tears. And actually, Simply Green's right too. The Palestinians didn't like the Jordanians, and so tried to kill their king, King of Jordan. Sorry. So the history at one level is fascinating, but it begins to indicate to you why things are such a mess over there. But anyway, typical me, I've talked for too long. I just thought it was interesting that the media would even print that out, because what it's explicitly saying is there actually has never been a Palestinian state, because of course when it wasn't controlled by the Jordanians, it was controlled by the British, and was controlled by the British, it was controlled by the Ottomans. So fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. So guys, I'm actually going to wrap it up there because I can see time is running by. I hope the mic issues are resolving themselves. But also I'm going to be back tonight. Bob and I are here with Political Playback from 5 o'clock. We'll be talking domestic politics. I won't be all over the show from Ramallah to Poland, Minnesota to New Zealand. Bob and I will be talking New Zealand politics. We've got quite a long list of topics to discuss. A reminder, of course, that we still have every morning, because you're here at the moment, we either have Daybreak or Solid Ground, so obviously Bob will be with you. Bob is still furiously writing his Substacks, so there's that. I'm obviously writing my Substacks too. That's from last week. I've got to try and finish writing this week's one. Rabbit Hole rightly makes a comment too that Israel's past and current stand is full of bad players. Oh yeah, look, I've said many a time, it's not as if one side's completely right and innocent and the other is not. So it's not a black and white issue is probably what I'm trying to say, but I just thought it was quite extraordinary that the stuff would actually write what it did. Hey, a new podcast has dropped. This is with Stephen Moe. He's one of the leading charity lawyers in New Zealand. And if you are involved in a charity or you're someone who donates, actually he has amazing practical insights of how, as he phrases it, to make your investment impactful. So check out that podcast. RCR, I still do my show there, sitting down with a guy called Alistair Rose. He's the one who shot Graham Burton and then saved Graham Burton's life, for which Alistair got the Bravery Star. But he talks about police now through their journeys of depression, PTSD, and worse. So check that out. So look, there really is no shortage. In fact, I'm just going to play this little video that we've only just put together. Just gives you a hint of what we've got.
Family First is bringing you conservative conversations, commentary, and content. And now you can access these important discussions in the format that you prefer. Watch, read, listen. You can watch our content on our website, familyfirst.nz. Simply click on the Watch tab and you'll see all our various programs that you can view. You can also watch these across our social media channels: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, TikTok, Threads, and Blue Sky. Everywhere. If you'd prefer to listen while you go about your daily activities or are traveling in a vehicle, then click on the Listen tab and the latest content is there for you to listen to. You can also find us on Spotify under Family First NZ. And if you prefer to read our commentary, then click on the Read tab. We're increasing the frequency of our written commentary, focusing on the latest research and analysing the current news events which are relevant to families and society. We provide the insight and context which you won't get from the mainstream media. We're also now adding the full scripts of Family Matters and McBlog under the video link in our website, and also written summaries on our live stream shows so that you can read and digest the material at your own pace. Consume our conservative conversations in the way that best suits you. Watch, read, listen. Go to familyfirst.nz and join the conversation.
So there's no way to avoid us, basically. We're everywhere. Guys, I look forward to seeing those who can make it tonight at 5 o'clock. Otherwise, I'll see you here on Solid Ground next Tuesday. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.